Is the unnamed tavern named Unnamed Tavern? Is Unnamed Tavern named Unnamed Tavern, or is it a tavern that's not been named?
World news. Well, world news type stuff and things.
Kind of get serious. Kind of get serious.
Polish election, right-wing ruling party to lose majority exit poll. Ay, Lomao. The right-wing populist Law and Justice Party is on course to win most seats in Poland's general election, exit polls suggest, but unlikely to secure a third term in office. Pollsters IPSOS suggest the party known as the PIS has 36.1% of the vote, and the centrist opposition is on 31%. If the exit polls are correct, then Donald Tusk's civil coalition has a better chance of forming a coalition. He is aiming to end 8 years of PIS rule under leader Jaroslaw, and I don't know how to pronounce the last name.
Is it not Yaroslav?
Yaroslav?
Yes, Yaroslav Kaczynski.
I am a goblin. If I'm not illiterate,
I'm pretty sure that's Kaczynski.
I'm illiterate adjacent.
Kaczynski?
Kaczynski?
Yeah.
With
Yaroslav Kaczynski.
With 80.27% of the vote counted, the National Electoral Commission says Law and Justice has 36.27% of the vote. Civic Coalition is on 29.41%, while the Third Way has 14.45%. The result is expected on Tuesday evening, and this is as of October, this article, so that's likely happened since then, just so everybody's aware. On Tuesday evening, the commission head said earlier, speaking about the exit polls, PIS leader Kaczynski admitted he did not know. That wasn't me this time. Admitted he did not know if the party's, quote, success will be able to be turned into another term in power. Initial results.
I love how you lose ground and you're like, oh, what's the success though? It's like, is it a success? Is it really?
Initial results gave the PIS the lead, but they reflected small towns and countryside, which are party strongholds. 2 more IPSOS exit polls published on Monday suggested PIS would be unable to form a coalition. Quote, Poland won, democracy has won, Mr. Tusk, 66, told a large crowd of jubilant supporters in what felt like a victory rally in Warsaw. Warsaw? I'm going to go with Warsaw.
Tusk.
Quote, this is the end of
just learn more Polish. It's easy.
I barely speak English. This is the end of
unlike
that
other
time.
Slavic languages, you can use the Latin alphabet.
Yes. This is the end of the PIS.
Goblin works.
Come on.
So, I have the updated results. If you're interested in.
Yeah, I was also
No.
Yes.
So PIS won 194 seats in Parliament. Well, down 41 from their.
It's a big loss
from the previous election. Yeah. They still have the most number of seats, and they had a 35.4% percentage. Tusk's coalition, which includes the PO, had 157 seats. It's up from 23, and then the Third Way group had 65, up from 35. So what happened is the United Right and the PIS dropped 41 seats to 194. They're in first place. They had 235 seats last election. Tusk, that they're talking about, has 157. They had only 134 last election, so they're up. And they also the Third Way coalition is at 65, up from 35. We had 30 last election.
There is a
who's that little
representation.
Purple Bernie Sanders like guy?
German minority.
Oh.
One seat.
Well, hey, congrats, guys! You got a seat.
Yes. Maybe Prussians, the Prussian coalition. Yes.
Yeah, there's.
Okay.
It looks like there's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different groups. One of them being one seat
Yeah.
for Germany.
Yeah. So the NL party, already at 26, they're down from 49, and the other confederation has 18, up from 7. So if you look at the areas there, you find that essentially that the ZP has a large number of the areas. So I assume that they basically pulled in also a lot of civic city votes, I'm guessing. They're the one in 194. So there's a, let me just send you an image of this election map that I think would be useful to put into play.
There's also a bit in Discord. There's also here posted inside this article is talking about Poland's strong support of Ukraine being unlikely to change, so that's interesting.
Yes. So I put into the green room an image so you can see where the coalition.
Whoop, there you go. There you be.
I'm going to make that bigger. So
Is
you
there
can
any
see
particular
that
spot you want me to zoom in on?
Oh, wow.
well, the if you look at the side of the blue one 195, you can see where they had the strong set of stuff, and you can see the other coalitions. It shows you sort of the breakdown. It also has some of the more detailed rural areas.
Yes. You can kind of zoom into these spots and see a little bit better.
So those are referring to smaller areas, but the overall larger map shows you the cross Poland and the breakdown of seats in this region. But it doesn't seem to be a regional right to it. And of course, the table at the very far upper right corner shows you essentially the 5 coalitions. So the part of this that the Civic Coalition was hoping to be the lead party. The way in that Parliament works is that the party that has the most number of seats gets to first crack at forming the government.
Yeah, we did talk about a couple of months ago now when Barry was on. Landon and Barry had a very interesting conversation about Ukraine and Russia's borders and how Poland would feel about it, and how like some of the other regions in that area had to finagle what was going on and what was going to happen, based on whether or not Ukraine stood its ground or was unable to stand its ground, or what have you was going to happen. So I definitely recommend going back and checking that one out. I think we're probably going to have Barry on again sometime soon, maybe in the new year, for either one of these or for a microbrew in particular, to talk a little bit more about what's gone on since.
But I mentioned just that what happened is that the United Right won a plurality of seats, but fell short of the majority, and the opposition consists of the Civic Coalition. So that's and the Third Way and the left, basically combine their seats to get a 54% advantage to form a majority coalition government.
Yeah, so just to be clear, United Right is
India
blue,
also.
the Civic Coalition is the orange, the Third Way is the green, the left is the red, and the Confederation is the dark blue.
So I think it's
Navy
the
blue.
orange plus the green plus the what's the third one color there?
The left, this magenta.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
magenta, yeah.
orange,
Pinkish
the
purple.
orange, green, and magenta managed to get a coalition, even though the ZP had the first ability. They did not have a majority, and they couldn't get other parties to go along with them. And so the second level was given a chance, and they formed a coalition of those three colors.
Very interesting. It's also kind of interesting, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but I've seen like a lot of from what I've come across is that there's a lot more right extremism going on than just in America. It's not only an American thing.
Yes.
Like I've seen it in Canada. We've talked about it a little bit, Manya, I think in the background about New Zealand, Australia in particular. I think
Yeah.
we've had conversations about that in the Discord. So like there's a lot of places where this right-wing extremism has kind of tried to work its way in, and in some countries they're just getting the piss kicked out of them, or like they're around for a while, but
Yeah.
we're starting to see like they're starting to lose power, like just across the board.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do you guys agree with me on that one?
I don't know if I'd call it right.
Wait. Okay, Mani will go first, then Dapper, then Landon. Just so we. Sorry, I set you guys up for failure. I apologize. Go ahead, Manya. Got him.
Yeah, it's happening like. So it is happening in a lot of countries, and I think so. What is going on is with COVID, what has happened is people have internet has helped share a lot of information online. So people are online a lot, so information travels very fast, and where we can see now that the right wing parties, they are trying to get their foothold in, but they are being told there are standards that you need to follow. There are expectations that you have to meet, or else next you can sit there and change the policies and shit. You're not going to get back in the chambers next election. So the right wing parties have to be really careful how they maneuver this and not go all out in their first tenure. Think about it before you start like putting out like reforms that people would be like, what the fuck? And
Yeah.
especially if you're going to mess with the with the rights and with the culture of the indigenous population. Just keep in mind. Just saying.
Dapper, what do you think?
So one thing I want to say is like I'm not sure that this is a worldwide trend in a particular direction, right? So like we've seen, okay, there was Trump and Bolsonaro, and they kind of rose and fell together. But we're also seeing, what's that other guy's name down in Latin America who was just elected? He's the guy who like named his dogs after like right wing economists.
Named his dogs after right-wing economists. So,
Jeez,
Argentina?
Thanks.
Is it Argentina?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Argentina just elected
this guy. Eccentric populist
guy.
who seeks counsel from his dogs. This guy. Javier Milei?
That's definitely Javier.
Javier. I don't know.
It's Spanish, not
Stop.
French, Chesh.
Stop
Spanish.
bullying
You are
me.
okay, Shesh.
Stop bullying me.
But also the Netherlands had a what was previously a fairly fringe right-wing party win the plurality in their most recent election. So I think it's something that's rising and falling in different places around the world at different times. And I think that it's something that's probably not going away anytime soon worldwide, even if certain countries are, kind of getting over it a little bit, getting it out of their systems. So, but yeah, like it's entirely possible that the next prime minister of the Netherlands is Geert Wilders, a man who famously wants to ban the Quran from, if he can, Europe.
Well, we saw
So-
Europe doing this too a little bit, where with the Tories are starting to lose a little bit of power. But I know Landon's got thoughts on that. So, Landon, what do you think?
So I don't know that I'd call it right wing, left wing, not because that spectrum is hard to define. I would just instead talk about, in a sense, the rise of things that approach the fascism spectrum. In particular, we're seeing the rise of hyper-nationalism, in the country, as well as belligerent
It's already
patriotism,
happening
right?
in India.
So in hyper-nationalism, the notion is, our country needs to be great, but it isn't because of them, whoever the them is. And then the belligerent patriotism is, the sort of the love it or leave it sort of thing. And so the belligerency and the hyper-nationalism thing is now understand that fascist doesn't mean Nazi, right? That they're different,
Right.
they're different. They're disjoint sets. While Nazis are fascists, not all fascists are Nazis. And so you see a lot of things where you have a populist leader that uses almost cult-like processes to attract a following, and then to in that following say it's a them. They're the reason why you, my followers, aren't getting what you deserve because of them, whoever the them is.
Yeah.
And if you let me,
The them is the one who might criticize
the dictator,
them.
the dictator, right, for the day or whatever the thing is, then I will make things right. I will fix the problems and get put down to them. And so I think it's this is what we're seeing happen. And there are certain populists who are perhaps have these narcissistic tendencies that are trying to push this notion of it is okay to be belligerent, combined with the fact of what happened, what Putin is doing, where by use of various targeted messaging, trying to foment dissent, trying to convince people that they're unhappy, and will send out conflicting messages, right? So, like in the United States, they might sit there and say Trump sucks, and then they'll have certain groups, and then they'll have Biden sucks to certain groups, but doing it in a way to try to get people to become upset, to demonize others, again, kind of like the cult sort of stuff we saw with the previous mini tavern things, doing the separation of stuff. So that's where I think you're seeing the rise of. And I wouldn't blame Trump, but he certainly is a symptom of this kind of a thing. And,
it's not
and
unrelated.
Other people are finding not really, but it seems to be a trend, and this is part of Russian payback to their declared enemies, is to use means by which targeting stuff to get people excited, and so it really is more the rise of the dictatorial powers, concentrated powers in somebody who has an us-them mentality, hybrid nationalism, belligerent patriotism.
Interesting. I mean, it all seems to be like it's not unique to any singular country, and I think it's kind of unfair to paint things that way. And I think that kind of happens a lot, where it's just like, oh, everybody's just gonna blame this other country, or we're gonna compare ourselves to the worst one and be like, well, we're not that bad. And it's just like, no. You should compare yourselves to the best in a country. Like, we have statistics for this. We have worldwide statistics that we can look at and compare ourselves far more accurately and kind of drive our countries via, the voting and democratic process into directions that we want to see it go. If we're constantly comparing ourselves to the worst possible option that currently exists, we're doing ourselves a disservice, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I think there is legitimate right-wing people that are not fascism that would abhor this sort of belligerent patriotism. But what happens is when, like in Poland, when the margin of victory is really close, you find that the right is leaning on the populism and leaning on the minority group that is comfortable with this megalomaniac, populist, narcissistic cult stuff, because they see them as a necessary means to get victory. And that's been the problem in the political sphere.